Howdy, friends. Steve DePel here for the Rose Realty team with this week's real estate vlog for North Texas. 6.5 smart home devices to make your home safer and to add value. Now, there's a lot of smart gadgets and devices out there to make your home more Jetson-like. They haven't quite perfected the Rosie the robot yet, but I guess they're still working on it, right? So we've got coffee makers, pet feeding and watering, floor cleaners and dusters, kitchen devices like thermometers and cookers. I actually have a smart thermometer when I grill. It's called a meter, and depending on the type of meat you're using, the cut, and how you want it cooked, it determines how long you should cook the meat. And as the temperature inside the grill rises, the temperature, the time goes down. I haven't ruined a piece of meat since I've been using that. First, I got it about a year and a half ago, and the first time I used it was last Christmas when we had some people over and we were doing some kind of expensive beef roast or something like that. So I was a little nervous, but the thing turned out like a dream. And so, FYI, these things do work. Let's get into the first one, smart locks. So smart locks are programmable, shareable. They have virtual keys and they work off your smartphone or keypad. The neat thing about these, right, is that let's say you have some friends coming over and you're out of the house. Maybe you're at work or maybe you're shopping. Okay, you went to the liquor store because you had friends coming over, right? You can give them you can either give them a virtual key through their smart device, or you can give them let's say a guest code to punch into the pad, right? Now, the neat thing about this is once they leave, whether that's in a couple of hours or whether that's in a couple of days, you can erase that smart code and reset that virtual code and reset it so that it's no longer available to them. Okay. Now, maybe they're your friends and you trust them, but you still want to have a secure house, right? And so you can erase that virtual code and reset it to something else, so that the next people that come over, whether it's a relative or a friend or a neighbor or whatever, will have a different smart code, a different shareable code. So it's a really cool idea. Smart thermostats. At first, I didn't like the smart thermostats, and I'm not sure I'm really jazzed about them. They're programmable, they're teachable, they work off of Wi-Fi, and they work off your smartphone. Now, what I didn't really like about these initially is I thought that what would be going on is the government would be finding out how the temperature that I set my house at in the winter, and then using all that mean oil, and they would then charge me a surcharge because I have it set at 74 instead of 72 or that something like that, right? But actually, the smart thermostats really a pretty neat idea. We've had them now for about 4 years in our house, and I bet you we haven't touched them in about 3 years. Really, we set them for the comfort zones and the temperatures that we liked. They come on and off at different times of the day. We have different temperatures during the day, and because now we're comfortable with those temperatures, we really haven't touched the thermostats at all, right? So they're really a good device. They're efficient for our energy needs, and they make your house comfortable. Smart vents. I love this idea. Okay. They work off of individual rooms. They're cost effective and efficient. They work on heating or cooling, and they have connectivity between vents. So, two things. First of all, suppose you have a room that you don't use in your house that you don't use that often. Okay. Well, you could close the vent, in that room so that they're not wide open. So when you're not using that room, okay, you get either less AC or less heat coming into that room, and therefore that hot or cold air is redirected to other rooms of your house. Okay, so that's kind of step one. Step two, another thing is that, for example, we have a room that we want the vents open more in the summer and closed a bit in the winter. And so you're up there at a pole moving the vent thing. This is programmable. You can close it a little bit, open it a little bit more, etc. Really neat idea. The other thing is this connectivity between vents. So in that one room that I told you want to close down because you don't use that often, that air, the forced hot air is now redistributed to other rooms, right? That's along the same path. And then those vents can open or close slightly. So now you've got more air coming through those vents. They can close slightly, and therefore you'll heat the room better, more effectively and efficiently because it's connectivity. Great idea. Smart switches. I installed one of these in my house yesterday. Okay, they work off of individual rooms. There's connectivity is possible between smart switches. They're programmable and they're a safety factor. So I installed these for a switch on the exterior of my house. So my exterior light by the porch comes on and off at certain times. Okay, I love these because they give the appearance when you're not home that you're home. Your lights are coming on, your lights are going off, right? It's a safety factor, not only for people coming up to your house so that you forget to turn on the light this evening, but also a safety factor for safety and security of your home. Great idea. I really like this. Smart plugs operate along the same path, except they're an individual socket for like an individual light, right? That doesn't necessarily have a switch attached to it. They're programmable and they're a safety factor. So you could do. I have a lamp, for example, by my chair in the family room, and I can turn that lamp on and off when I feel like it. We're tied to our hub. The hub that we use is Alexa, and so I have to say, "Hey Alexa, chair on," and the light comes on. It saves me so much energy by having to say that rather than having to pull the cord. But anyway, what you're able to do with these is again program them so they come on and off, etc. It's a safety. I think it's a safety factor, and it gives the appearance that people are in the house. Irrigation systems. I love this idea. Okay, especially here in North Texas, they're programmable so that like every other irrigation system we have, they're programmable. You can set them for a certain period of times per station and a certain number of days, etc. But these irrigation systems also tie into the weather. Okay, so if you're in North Texas in July, August, and September, and you're sitting there wondering, and you're sitting there have it programmed in, but the weather report says, hey, it's going to be unusually hot and we're going to have no rain. Then the irrigation system smart brain kicks in, and then it'll water maybe an extra day or maybe an extra couple of minutes per station per day, that kind of thing, right? It's also seasonal, so that the system will know, hey, it turned out to be October in North Texas. There's going to be a little bit more rain. It's going to be cloudy. It's going to be not quite as warm, and so we're going to decrease our watering cycle. Great idea. It saves money, it saves money and also preserves and makes sure you have a nice green grass or shrubbery. Smart cameras. So a lot of people have the smart cameras. I think a lot of these smart devices kind of sprang out of the Ring doorbell, right? We've seen around this time of the year where the guy comes up and steals your Amazon package, and you say, "Hey, get out of there!" That kind of thing. Really cool. It's a safety and privacy kind of issue here, as well as security. There's also cameras for the inside and outside the house for safety and protection, right? Now, I just talked to my alarm company guy the other day, and what you want on these cameras is you want a continuous feed. Now, some of these cameras kind of work off of motion. Okay, so there's an infrared, and when they see some motion, then they'll turn on. But those, they said are too choppy. And what happens if you have to go to court in some sort of legal battle? It's better if it's a continuous stream of video rather than the choppiness. Okay, so you want something that's a continuous feed. Either the feed's actually going to a cloud or onto a DVD type of thing, and that's better for you in terms of privacy, security, and safety. A bonus smart device is the robotic window cleaner. I love this idea. Okay, it gives you spotless windows. There's suction fans on the inside that hold the device to the window. It has microfiber mats in there to clean your window, and it cleans large surfaces. Now, here's why I love this. So during the summers, particularly when we have maybe people over the house, we have these two huge picture windows in the back. We call it the fishbowl. And because of the wind and construction in the area, those windows always get dirty, and you can tell that they get dirty. We also sometimes get birds flying into them, so you have like the imprint of a bird. Okay. Again, guess who gets to clean those windows when we have people over? Yep, it's me. And so what I like about this is you can set one of these up, and it'll clean the window. And when it's done, it tells you, right? And you take it off and you move it over to the next window. You don't have to worry about it. It's no fuss. It's like one of the Roomba vacuum cleaners, but it's for a window. Great device. I like it. I haven't we haven't installed one yet, but that's going to be on my Christmas list, I think. So there's 6.5 plus a bonus ideas for smart home devices for your home. Think about them. You can do searches out there. If you're interested in talking to a technology guy, I can give you the name of Steve over at Tech Now, who can give you some advice. Next week, we're going to talk about suburbs are growing in popularity. If you recall, maybe 6 months ago, when the COVID hit, right, the Chinese flu hit, we were talking about people moving out of the cities, moving into the suburbs, so they can control their environment a little bit better. The riots of a couple months ago didn't help anything, and of obviously the defunding of the police, stuff that didn't talk didn't help either. So people want to move out of the congested cities into the suburbs so they can control their environment a little bit more, a little bit better. We're going to talk about suburbs are growing in popularity. So the prediction that I made 6 months ago is actually coming true. So there's one for Steve. Have a great week. This is Steve DePoe for the Rose Realty team. I'm going to bounce.